Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Dragon Ball What If Topic video for today. And today, we are getting into part 15, oh my god, of my first Dragon Ball What If topic on this channel. And that one is, what if Hercule was a Z fighter? Now, I'm going to shorten the recap. I've said that before, but for those of you who don't know about the whole Hercule having a million moves thing, mastering all of his moves, go to my past parts if you haven't seen them already, because I really want to shorten the recap so I can get to the main points of the story. For those of you who just want me to skip all the monologue and get to the point, that's what I'm going to do. So, we left off with Gohan get his energy stolen by Yamu alone, and going off to Babidi to give him the energy. Now, I left off with the cliffhanger that King Piccolo was going to matter more in the upcoming parts of the Majin arc. Well, this is the episode where he is. So, him and his men, because he respawned his men after the whole incident with the androids, basically, they were excluded from the tournament because, obviously, and if they were to go into the tournament, it would ruin basically the possible redemption for them. Because Kami saw redemption in King Piccolo, and that's why he took him out of the jar, or the rice cooker. So, to ruin that, it would kind of be pointless. So, him and his men have basically been on solace, so that way King Piccolo can basically get his mind straight and try to, cope with being good and everything. I mean, it did work out great whenever he trained with Kami, but he just needs more time. But anyways, he sees Yamu flying to Babidi's ship. Now, he doesn't know who this is or what's happening, but then he sees Goku and company fly by and knows something's up. So, he tells all of his men to mask their ki and follow behind Goku and the others to see what's going on. They arrive to a different rock formation other than Goku and the group, and arrive to see just in time Yamu give the energy to Babidi and get killed, and then, shortly after, King Piccolo and his men still watching, mind you, waiting for the good moment to strike, Kibito getting killed by this guy who claims to be the Demon King, and Krillin getting turned to stone by spit? Really? This guy calls himself a demon? And what? I mean, King Piccolo has weird moves, so some part of him can't really judge. And now he sees a little bit of trouble here. So, just as Deborah is about to turn someone else to stone, he feels a sharp pain in his chest. Now, everybody else, they don't know what to think. A million things just happened at once. Krillin got turned to stone, Kibito got killed, and now, is Deborah joking or something with the spit nonsense? But then they see the figure who actually impaled Deborah. It's Tambourine with his signature impaling move that he used against the martial artist in the original Dragon Ball continuity. And this is where King Piccolo and his men make their entrance and basically come to help the group. They basically said that even though they weren't allowed in the tournament, they saw Yamu and everybody else fly by and knew something was up. And they hid their keys so that way they could find a moment to strike. And this was a pretty good moment. And the group commends them for coming to help out. Goku and Hercule and everyone especially. Well, reluctantly, because they still don't really trust him. But sort of. Anyways, Deborah is still floating in the air, mind you, because he was flying whenever he killed Kibito and turned Krillin and Piccolo into stone in the original. So he's still floating, mind you, with a gaping hole in his stomach, and is slowly losing consciousness and falling little by little. But he's still keeping his composure, kind of. But the Supreme Kai? Oh no. If you think that he's just gonna let this guy die with a wound in his stomach? Nah. Supreme Kai's not going to let that happen. This guy killed Kibito. He needs to die. And even more so because he's the Demon King. So he pushes him away with the force of ki from his eyes, and Deborah gets sent into a rock formation like 3 mountains away from where they are, like a good distance away. Anyways, after this, Bobbity doesn't know what to think. This backup just came, killed his best man, and now he only has Pui Pui Yakon and a bunch of mooks. So he doesn't know what to do at the moment. On the outside, Hercule, especially with the rest of the group, commends King Piccolo for defeating supposedly the Demon King and telling King Piccolo and his men that he's glad that they're on his side, like the Z-Fighter's side. With the other warriors reluctantly agreeing. It's kind of weird to hear that, after all what him and his men did. Anyway, Supreme Kai and everybody then, with Supreme Kai especially commending King Piccolo and everyone, suggests the plan to go down and stop Bobbity from resurrecting Majin Buu, because that's still a problem. But just as they're about to go down to the ship, everybody, they see a sword, or what looks like a sword, or some kind of spear, fly through the air. And before anybody has time to register what this is, or where it's going, it goes straight through Videl, killing her right on the spot, right through her heart. And the only person that saw this was Hercule. And the reasoning for that is one, his super training, and two, seeing his daughter fall to the ground with a frickin' spear in her heart. Obviously, this is going to catch his attention the most. And who did the spear belong to? Deborah. He might have a gaping wound in his chest. He might be dying. He might have got forced into a few mountains after. But he's still hanging on to life. You can't keep the Demon King down that easily. These demons showed up out of nowhere. He's going to give his spotlight back. And Hercule, oh boy, Deborah just did the wrong thing. And he powers up with an anger so fierce that even Goku, even King Piccolo, is caught off guard. He powers up and he begins growing muscular, with his muscles expanding, and his whole top of his outfit rips off, and his hair even extends. This is Hercule's super Earthling form. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. This is basically a power-up that Hercule was training with to make himself, feel more like Goku, like a Saiyan transformation. I wanted to make it, more realistic, like Hercule was getting power-ups too. And anyways, Deborah, who's still slowly dying, mind you, the last thing that he sees before he sees Hercule rushing at him is just, the last thing he feels, rather, is just complete and total terror. Hercule, in this new buffed up power of his super Earthling form, which I'm going to call Super Hercule, he's just mercilessly punching Deborah into the ground. And yeah, Deborah was already dead. After that was all the strength he had, so Deborah's toast. Bobbity, he doesn't know what to think. A million things are happening at once. Supposedly, Deborah was alive. He got extra energy from killing the girl, but now he's just dead. And now this guy just got all angry and got a new form. And he is filled with terror, shock. It's a bunch of things at once to take in. Now Hercule, after mercilessly killing Deborah, mind you, he's just ready to go in there and give Bobbity a piece of his mind. He's not going to let him get away with sending that guy to kill his daughter. and he demands that they go into Bobity's ship and kill Bobity personally. Now, everybody else, especially Gohan, who's had a relationship with Videl, they all agree and go straight into Bobity's ship. Now, aside from Pui Pui and Yakan, the rest of Bobity's minions left are just simple mooks. They're nothing. So they're easily dealt with. But Bobity's not through just yet. Keep in mind of a few things. One, Gohan had much more energy at the tournament. Not by a lot, but enough. So the gauge was already more than halfway full with that. Just a little bit more than halfway full. Two, Videl was killed, so that gave a little bit more extra energy. And three, he's been keeping tabs on these newcomers. King Piccolo and his men. I think you know where I'm getting with this. And he sees dark history with them. Like I said, they're not completely reformed. And this is where they come into play with this saga. Yep. Bobby sees this as the perfect opportunity. The gauge is a little bit more than halfway full. If he can take control of these guys, Majin Buu is sure to come back. So, Bobby begins to work his magic. And before anybody can figure out where Bobby is, King Piccolo, drum, cymbal, and tambourine all recoil on the ground, their heads in agony. And before anybody has time to notice what the heck is going on, all four of them have an M on their foreheads. And Supreme Kai knows what this means. He tells the group that these four are under the influence of Bobby, and that they are now his puppets, just like Deborah and just like everyone that they've seen before. Now, everyone is surprised at this, but Goku, he just gets a sheepish grin on his face, and he's like, yeah, I kind of figured that this would happen, with a few of the members agreeing, but they would have thought King Piccolo was completely reformed. Anyways, before Bobby can teleport them all away, he hears a voice in his head. It's Kami. He basically, whenever Piccolo was controlled, Kami felt this sensation, because remember, Kami and Piccolo, when they're not united, are still one and the same. So, Kami would have felt this sensation, and he talks telepathically to Bobby and tells him that it was a bad idea to control Piccolo, because now he's got to deal with him. And he knows all about Bobby, his plans to revive Buu, and he knows that he plans to use King Piccolo and his men as his final ace in the hole. Bobby, he's surprised at all this, and the last thing he sees before hearing that this guy is the guardian of Earth is Kami teleporting right in front of him and slicing his head clean off. And after hearing this and seeing King Piccolo and his men turn back to normal, Supreme Kai, seeing Kami, they have a nice interaction, with Supreme Kai being very much so impressed with Kami's prowess and how he was able to detect this. Without him, Majin Buu would have probably came back. Anyways, the threat is over. Another easy saga. And the Majin Buu ball is taken to Supreme Kai. He's going to have Beerus ice it, of course, because there's not really much else he can do with it. So when Beerus wakes up, Majin Buu's ball goes bye-bye. Supreme Kai thanks everybody. But story's not done just yet. Shenron is summoned, and everyone who is killed by the Majins, especially Videl and Kibito, are brought back. And just before Supreme Kai and Kibito go, Supreme Kai tells Goku, Gohan, Hercule, and Videl that he thinks they have great untapped potential, and that he has the perfect tool to help them with that. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for the moment. So, what did you guys think about King Piccolo and his men becoming Majins here? I know that it wasn't really like... I know it was a quick saga, sort of like the androids, but I felt like in the case of the characters and the development that had gone on so far, that this was a great way to explore, like, even kind of a crazy approach to the Majin arc. And it's going to still work for King Piccolo's redemption. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.